Hey everyone, today we're going to get right into it. This video is a video where I'm going to essentially glaze an old school Pokemon game. I'm not saying that new Pokemon games have absolutely no good content or no redeeming qualities. I'm one of the few people who actually defends Gen 6 as easy as they are. I think Mega Evolution is the greatest gimmick we ever got, but that's a video for another time. Today we're talking about how I think specifically Gold, heartgold, and Soul Silver are the best games in the series, and that is to do with many different factors. And I'm just gonna talk about it over some gameplay I got from my most recent playthrough. First of all, I think the most important thing, and something like everyone talks about, is that there's two regions. Obviously, if there were more games that had two regions worth of content in it, whether it was physically two regions, like, I don't know, say like Kalos and Galar, or Paldea and Alola, something like that. If they did something like that, that game would instantly be a lot more popular and could justify like an $80 price tag, $90 price tag, you know? But that's the thing, is they've also gotten into the habit of being like Call of Duty, where they release a new game every year on the year. I feel like if they just spent more time on their releases, like if they took 2 years or however long to really just hammer out all the kinks, all the bugs, add more content like battle frontiers and stuff like we had in this game as well, it would just be a much better game all around. I also caught myself thinking at one point that Johto, despite having the most content, had one of the weakest dexes, and then I had to brick myself because it actually has one of the best dexes. For example, you can get stuff like classics from Kanto, like Haunter, Kadabra, and then their evolved forms if you can trade, Gyarados, Raichu, Electabuzz, Magmar. With an event on Fridays, you're able to catch Lapras, which is another great addition to your team. You can get Snorlax with the Pokeflute once you get to Kanto. There's also a way to get Tyrogue, so you can get any of the Hitmons you want, especially since they added a third, being Hitmontop. One of my favorite features is not only your ability to go to Kanto, but the ability to battle the gym leaders again, which is the backdrop here, as you can see. The gym leaders, I've actually gotten a new appreciation for battling them again, because I wasn't doing what I did as a child, over leveling one Pokemon and hoping for the best, or like a handful of them, and I'm not really trying to use legendaries. So Ho-Oh is like a desperation pull that I'm using in certain battles. I did it first with my Sabrina fight to power up my starter so fire type moves would be stronger and I could use Solar Beam in one turn. And it's just utterly insane to me that I have to use semi-competitive strategies to battle Sabrina because she has this mega cracked Alakazam and a really tough Espeon that she leads with, and not to mention her Mr. Mime has both screens, and then I believe it's Energy Ball and Psychic for stab. Really tough team. I had a new appreciation for Janine because of how well balanced her poison types are. They're all, monotype, I think, aside from her Crobat and her Venomoth, but they have really good confused strats and poison strats going for them. Blaine, I think, is honestly one of the weakest and one of the least difficult. I can say the same for Brock and Lieutenant Surge and Erica. But I actually had some difficulty with Sabrina, and Blue beat me once. So yeah, the game has some difficulty there if you're actually trying to level out and have a completely evenly leveled team. And then there's also going to be post-game rematches where I'm going to be able to rematch all the Kanto and Johto gym leaders. There's two extra starter choices where you get to pick a Hoenn and a Kanto starter from Professor Oak and Steven Stone, respectively. There's so many legendaries you can catch if that's your kind of grind. It's not really mine. I actually had a terrible, terrible experience the other day that reminded me I need to always keep some kind of Pokeball on me because I encountered a shiny Rhyhorn and I had absolutely nothing on me. I didn't catch it on camera, I don't think, because I was just so embarrassed and angry about it. But yeah, you should definitely do stuff like that. Don't be like me. This game also just has one of the best rivals, I think. My favorite rivals are actually Hue, Blue, and controversially, the group from the Kalos games. But yeah, the rival in this game is like the perfect douchebag rival, as people call it. He's a lot meaner than Blue ever was. He's the meanest rival we ever had. And in this game, we can actually like see him have some kind of character arc where his character develops over the course of the game. And one really cool detail is at the end of the game when you have your final fight with him, I believe it's either against him or with him when you battle Lance and Claire in the Dragon's Den, you get he gets a Crobat, and that's just like such a really cool detail showing that he was able to actually start treating his Pokemon well and build a friendship, enough of a friendship with his Golbat that it evolved into Crobat. That was really cool. There's also character growth in the fact that he's not just fighting you in the end of the game, but that he's fighting alongside you at the end of the game. Just a lot more detail from the original games. The original games were still great, don't get me wrong, but the remakes are just peak games. Then back in the day, if you had bonus content, you could do stuff like get Arceus. There was a bonus event where you could fight Giovanni. There was some really cool stuff you could do in this game. There's also the Pal Park, which was something that was in the DS era of Pokemon. So you could get Pokemon from your Game Boy save files and transfer them over as long as you had the cartridges still and a DS. It was fucking awesome. I loved that feature. That was my favorite feature with the DS. Was Pal Park and stuff like that. The DS era is when I got into Pokemon, so there might be a little bit of nostalgia when I talk about this game, aside from it being a remake of a fan favorite game in the Pokemon series, but I really, really enjoyed this game along with Platinum and Diamond and Pearl even, because those were the first games I ever played in the Pokemon franchise, and then I played Fire Red and Emerald at the same time. I got all of those games around the same time within the span of a year and played them all back to back to back. But I think the one that has the most actual value as a game overall, like it has everything. It has so many Pokemon from every single region. It has so many different mechanics you can use. It has so many HMs, and as much as people rife on not wanting to use HMs, some of them are half decent, like attacking moves like Rock Climb, Strength, Surf, Waterfall. They're all actually decent moves, and so is Fly. Cut and Rock Smash, not so much. They're pretty terrible, and so is Flash. But I don't think in this game Flash was an HM. Getting a little bit sidetracked there. It has some of the most memorable battles and music and trainers and arcs in the whole series. It has some of the most underwhelming battles, I won't lie. Some trainers will surprise you though, like when you start running into trainers that have like actually evolved and pretty high level Pokemon. It's a really nice change of pace, and the back half of the game, everyone is really leveled up and you're just rematching the toughest of the tough and training new Pokemon that you're able to get your hands on. It also has, like I said, all the features from old games, like being able to go to the Battle Frontier, being able to battle 16 whole gym leaders, being able to battle Red, who's like a stand-in for yourself in an older game. It's a very, very, very good game, I think, overall. And I just wanted to spend today's 2 a.m. depression kind of glazing one of my favorite games from childhood that I have probably over fucking 500 hours on, including this playthrough, which I hope to finish. And if you guys want to see my final battle with Red himself, I'll do that if you guys leave some comments saying you do care that much. Anywho, until next time, I'm Chaotic Goo.